Hello students, welcome to the answer writing program. Today we will be discussing 3 questions, 2 questions from the ethics part and 1 question would be from current affair. The ethics part we are dealing with today is major the philosophical part of the ethics syllabus from GS4. First syllabus part is the ethics and human interface. The second is human values and the contribution of moral thinkers and philosophers from India and the world. So let's take an overview of all the 3 questions. The first question is related to the dimensions of ethics. Second question is related to the quotation based, the quotation from Thirukural. And the third question, which is current affair based question, it is about the brain drain and its impact on the Indian economy. So let's start with the first question. What are the various dimensions of ethics? This would be the major first demand of the question. According to you, which of them is the most important determinant for ushering in the good governance? According to you, what is the major or the most important component or the essential part from all these dimensions which is necessary for the good governance? You have to write in demand 2 and you need to give the examples, data, case studies, whatever the possibilities are. So let's start with the introduction. In introduction, you can directly hit the definition of ethics. So now what is ethics? So ethics are standards, some customs, traditions to regulate and maintain the decorum in the society. So the very basic idea or the objective behind the ethics is to transform the individual from being the egoistic person or from the selfish person, from the selfish human to the altruistic or the selfless human. So these are some standards. So you can write this thing in the introduction part. Next comes the body part. What are the dimensions of ethics? Dimensions means the various facets of ethics, various elements. How are the multiple dimensions of ethics are, how they are evolved. So the very first thing is the meta-ethics. Meta-ethics means the metaphysical ethics, which is beyond the physical thing. It is abstract in nature. So the meta-ethics deals with the studies of the very basic or the fundamental question that what is right means, what is the utility of being moral. So it deals with the questions that even if we have to follow the ethical behavior or not, what is the use or the benefit of being ethical. The ethics are from the worldly affairs or it is the godly affair. Who has made the ethics? What are the standards? How should we follow? The very basic or the fundamental questions deals in the meta-ethics part. The next comes the descriptive ethics. Descriptive ethics. Descriptive means description. So this branch of ethics or this dimension of ethics did the major surveys or the major observations, understanding or the find out the empirical observations that how the society behaves, how the different culture or how the different societies, different communities behave. So these are some empirical standards. How the ethics have evolved in the society, how ethics were there in history and how they have evolved with time. So this branch of ethics has come up with the major cultural parts, that what are the different ethical standards in the different cultures, different taboos in different religions, etc. So these are the empirical or the observation ethics. Next comes is the normative ethics. Descriptive ethics is what the person is doing. How he is behaving ethically, morally. Normative ethics is how the person should behave. Means the ideal condition. Like it is a red litmus paper test. So it is the major utopian concept that this is how the human should deal with or how he should behave in this particular manner. So normative ethics has now again the different approaches. First is the teleological approach, deontological approach and the virtue approach. Teleological approach, it means only the ends matter, not the ways. So it is consequential. What are the consequences? The behavior of the person should be dependent on that. Deontological, the ways should matter, not the ends. Ways should be ethical, like the rights based approach, justice should be there. Then next is the virtue approach. Virtue means that there are some virtues or the moral standards of individuals. So whatever things it takes for a person to come closer to that behavior or the virtue standards of that particular individual, he will do that thing. So virtue approach. Next is applied ethics. So all the moral philosophical knowledge has come up from all these three ethical dimensions. When we apply in the practical form, then it comes as a applied ethics. Now in the current scenario, again it has a different dimensions like environmental ethics, medical ethics, professional ethics, personal ethics. There are the multiple again the dimensions of applied ethics. So this was the first part of the question. Next is, according to you, which of them is the most important determinant for ushering the good governance? So for good governance, a civil servant should be prompt in action and should see the maximum just, fairness, transparency, accountability. Good governance means the basic traits. It should build the public trust. It should be transparent. It should be accountable. It should be efficient. So when the governance meets the ethical part, ethical standards, ethical moral standards, so this comes the good governance part. So when the governance follow these things, it becomes a good governance. So the civil servant should follow the applied ethics dimension because he has to take the prompt action, very practical in the decision making. He has to do the goods, public good or the common good for the society. So this way you can write this body part, and you can also quote examples that with the complex technological advancements, complexities, nuances in the society, nuances in the economy, the person or the civil servant should be very adaptable also and should be come up with the new principles or the broad based new ethical standards also. Like take an example of artificial intelligence. There are the very major benefits of the artificial intelligence. Along with this, there are certain pitfalls or the negatives of the artificial intelligence. The positive being, artificial intelligence has the potential to increase the crop yield, has come up with the major treatments in the medical domain. It has the potential to increase the productivity in the business aspect. So it has a major advancements and it can make the nation prosperous. So these are some advantages. Along with this, there are some certain negatives like it reduces the privacy part. It uses the human as a means, not as the end. Exploit the human, unemployment would be there, inequitable and the injustices would be there. So how the civil servant should deal with the AI governance and AI promotion? Because we cannot negate the AI and we cannot degrade or stagnate the AI technological advancements in India. So there should be the broad-based governance or broad-based ethical principles or the standards for the governance part. So we have come up with the idea of world or the largely society goods approach, which is better for the whole of the society, not the goods, like whole of the society or the whole of the world approach. It means we will take the feedback from the multiple stakeholders, involvement of the community would be there, so as the dividends should reach the people in the just manner, in fair manner and in the inclusive manner. We cannot just see that we have to take the means approach or the ends approach, or we should not come up with what all the society is doing. Then only that civil servant will do whatever the society or the culture is doing. So the civil servant has to come up with the balanced approach, balanced between the governance and the technological advancements. So this way you can write the importance in the civil services of the applied ethics. Finally, conclusion. You can write the summary based that embracing the applied ethics empowers a civil servant to make the informed decision, ethical policy decision. and it fosters a good governance, and it paves the way for the prosperous and aspirational India on the lines of Amrit Kal. Let's see the model answer. Model answer, the definition, dimensions of ethics, using a flow chart to show the dimensions of ethics. Then comes the description part, and for the civil servant, the role of applied ethics. Finally, conclusion. Next, we'll see the second question. The nation should have 5 key elements: good health, good economy, harvest, happiness, and strong defense. And this is a quotation based question. In ethics, quotation based question, what you can do is you can start with the general context. Whatever the question is saying, you just describe in 2 to 3 lines. This would suffice your introduction part. Then in body, whatever the demand of the question, you just put it in heading. Then divide your question into the multiple dimensions or the multiple parts or the elements, core elements. Like in this question, good health is there, economy, harvest, happiness, strong defense is there. So divide into the smaller parts so that you can do justify, or you can do the justification with this demands of the question. In these particular subheadings, try to argument on that how this question, what that question is demanding, how this subheading is sufficing that demand. Put an argument, then give some examples. In examples, you can give the quotes of other scholars as well. You can give international data, you can give domestic data. You can also give what if this does not happen, means the negation of this statement as an example, and put substantiate with some data. Reverse statement. So this way you can deal with the quotation based question. You just need to identify the major keywords or the gist what the question is asking. Then finally conclusion, you can give the gist whatever the question is demanding, and all you can also conclude it with some other quote as well. So in this particular question, this is a quotation based question and this is the quote from Thirukural. So you can write that the question or the quotation is telling some prerequisites like the good health, good economy, harvest, happiness, and strong defense, which is required, means the prerequisites for the well-being and the prosperous nation. These are some conditions for the ideal nation, for the well-being of the nation, or for the prosperous nation. And this is taken from the Thirukural. It is the work by the Tamil scholar Thiruvalluvar, who has given his wisdom in the political, social, and economic domain. So this way you can start the introduction. Next comes the body part. Question is asking about the key elements of the ideal nation. So as we have discussed, we need to differentiate, or we need to segregate the major keywords. The first is good health. The quotation is saying that the good health is a prerequisite for the prosperous or the well-being of the nation. So we need to link how good health links to the well-being of the nation. So good health means the prosperous nation. Good health of the nation means the good health of the citizen. Good health of the citizen emotionally, physically, spiritually, in all the domains. Multifaceted approach should be there. And only the healthy people will be able to thrive or do the justice or do work for the nation. So good health is the basic necessity for the wealthy nation, well-being of the nation. Again, this is the substantiation. Now you can give some examples like India is providing right to health under Article 21. Yoga, India is promoting yoga. Then Supreme Court, ban on burning crackers. Then access to affordable healthcare, sanitation, Swachh Bharat mission, nutrition like Poshan Abhiyan, and overall wellness of the nation. Then next is the good economy. Good economy means the stable and the robust economy. If the economy is robust, then that nation is the prosperous nation. And you can write the reverse also, that the poor economy or the poor health of the economy will lead to the people conception or the perception of the life in a very narrow domain. If the economy wealth or the economy health is not very good, it means there is a poverty, there is unemployment, so people will lead or incline themselves towards a crime. Hate crimes will develop. You can quote some examples also, that after 2008 recession, there was a hate crime incidences were increasing in USA and Australia against the Indians. So you can give some reverse statement, and you can also quote some examples like what India is doing. LPG reforms were there, establishment of the MPC committee, inflation targeting is there, off budgeting resources or the allocations are reducing. So the government is also pushing towards the wealthy and the healthy economy of India. Then comes the harvest, the good harvest or the good agricultural productivity. So as to sustain the people, food security should be there, crop productivity should be there. You can quote example that in the before the 1960s or the 17s, India was dependent on USA for the wheat grains import under the PL 480 scheme. But the USA suspended that scheme for some time, and during the increasing incidents of the famine, the food security was hampered in India. So high yield varieties, green revolution has come up, and it secured the food security of India. So for the prosperous nation, for the well-being of the nation, food security should be there for the sustenance of people. Then you can also give examples like government is pushing towards a climate smart agriculture, green policies in the agricultural domain, smart irrigation facilities, etc. Then next is the happiness content. Happiness, the prosperous nation depends on the happiness of its people, happiness of citizens, and the overall well-being of the citizen. So you can quote some quotations from Kautilya's Arthashastra. He says that the king is happy if its subjects are happy. The welfare of the people depends or the welfare of the king depends on the welfare of the people. So you can give this quotation based, and also that everything is well, all is well, that ends well, and end is the happiness of the people. So this is the quotation from the Kautilya's Arthashastra. So you can write this quotation as well, or you can write some examples like according to some index, Nordic countries are the happiest, and India is also focusing towards improving overall well-being. India is increasing awareness towards the mental health and come up with the various initiatives and the schemes for the mental awareness and the mental health and the well-being. Then next is the strong defense. Strong defense is required for the safety and the security of its citizen, for the internal security from the external security, to protect its citizens and the territories against the external threats also. So the strong defense is required. Here you can give examples that after the independence, during the Jawaharlal Nehru's prime ministerialship, India wasn't very much focused towards the defense developments, like due to the fraternity approach, like Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai, and the non-violence ideology prevailing during the freedom struggle. So India lowers or degrades its shields for the defense capabilities. Either it was degraded or stagnated. What was the result? The result was the 1962 and 1965 war. So the strong defense capabilities should be there, so as to protect the sovereignty and integrity of the nation, not as to do the first time attack or attack at the first instance, but to deter someone, that we are strong enough, you cannot attack us. So you can give examples that India's budget on the defense allocations is like approximately 2.1% of the GDP, and India is doing the defense corridors, defense equipments, procurement of Sukhoi, and the tie-ups or the various strategic alliances with the various developed countries like Israel, arms import, etc., to build the defense capabilities of a nation. So these are the points you can do the justification. Next comes the conclusion or the summary. Importance of these 5 points like the good health, good economy, good harvest, happiness and the strong defense, and how these elements are the prerequisites for the wealthy or the healthy nation. You can also write about that all these elements for to be prosperous, it requires the balanced development and the good governance from the government side. Next comes the model answer. In answer, starting with just the 2 to 3 lines introduction of the quotation, then key elements of the ideal nation. You can also write some other key elements which is not properly mentioned in the quotation. So you can also write universalism, tolerance, it should be there for the prosperous nation. Then finally ending up with the conclusion. Now let's see the third question. Examine the effects of the brain drain on Indian economy. Is it entirely detrimental to India's economic prospect? So the question is about brain drain. So you can directly start with the definition or some statistics related to brain drain. That brain drain is the transfer or the movement of highly intellectual people, highly educated people, highly skilled people, qualified people, competitive individuals from developing nation to the developed nation in search of good employment opportunities, for the better quality of life, for the better standards of life, for the better earnings. So this way you can start the brain drain introduction or the definition based introduction. You can also write something data according to the Ministry of Home Affairs that in approximately 5 years, approximately 5 lakhs people have renounced their citizenship and acquired the foreign citizenship so as to settle permanently over there. It means this is the proper case of brain drain from India. You can also write something that these highly qualified or the skilled people are now contributing to the other economies for their well-being or for their prosperity. So this way you can start the introduction. You can also write after introduction what are the various factors for the brain drain, like push factors, pull factors. Push factors which forms the impetus to the individuals to go away from the home country. Like there are the unemployment cases, political instabilities are there, employment discriminations can be there, economic underdevelopment, poor working condition, lack of freedom in their career prospects, etc. These are some push conditions. Or the pull conditions like better earnings, better job opportunities, better career prospects, healthy and more advanced standard of life, quality of life, better economic outlook in the developed nations. So these way you can make some diagram, small diagram after introduction, brain drain, push factor, pull factor, and like 2 to 3 points in each of this. So this will fetch you more marks. Then comes with the body, impact of brain drain on the Indian economy. The very first thing, when the highly qualified or the skilled people will migrate to the developed nation or to the other nation, so there is a skill shortage in the home countries, or there are the shortages in the skilled people. Like you can give examples like the export of healthcare workers like the doctors and nurses. So this creates the shortage in the home country, that is India. Like now the doctor is 1:1404 people and the nurses are 1.7:1000 people. So this creates a shortage in the critical industries like education, healthcare, engineering, technology, AI, data analytics, etc. You can give any example. Then next is the weakening of the workforce or the skill gap in the critical industries. Like the skilled workforce is moving from our home countries to the other host countries. So what it leaves the weakened workforce, the talent pool is now diminished. It creates the skills gap in the critical industries. Like you can quote some example like there is a 30% skill gap in the data analytics or the AI industries in India. Then when the skilled workforce will migrate, means the leftover workforce is not that advanced, means the talent pool has diminished now. So it directly impacts the R&D of India. Then next is the economic loss. Again, all these things creates the economic lag or the economic growth and developmental facilities it hampers. And next, directly how it creates the economic loss, because India has invested so much from the very initial stages of those people to make them highly qualified. Now they are moving to the other countries. It means the whole of the investment what India has done, it is gone into vain. First thing. Second, as they move to the other countries, they are not paying the taxes in their home countries. Second, then third is they can be the potential entrepreneurs or the skill developers in India. India has lost that also. So all these things makes the economic loss for the country. Next is the people are migrating to the other developed nation. It means there is a shortage of the skilled workforce over here and there is a concentration of the skilled workforce in the other nations. It means this creates the imbalance between these two nations. Again, when the concentration is there, economical development would be there, societal development, technological advancements would be there. And when it creates or it poses as a hub for all the advancements, other industries will also come up. So again, when the people migrate, when the qualified or highly competitive or highly skilled people will migrate from one country to other, it creates a huge disbalance or imbalance between those two nations. So these are the technological and the economic gaps becomes widen up. Then next is brain drain is not completely detrimental. Means there are some positive impacts of the brain drain. The first is they send the remittances, they provide the remittances from the host countries to their home countries. You can give some example also that what is the remittances of India. Then creates a soft power. By moving from the India to the highly developed nation or for the highly skilled people migration, this creates a soft power or a strong Indian diaspora in the other countries. This creates a soft power and this also creates a soft diplomatic ties also. This helps in creating the diplomatic capital. Next is the potential brain gain. When these the people who have moved to the other nations, when they come up, if they come up, they come up with the new skills, expertise and the resources. So this will act as a brain gain or the wisdom gain in the home countries. Finally, conclusion, you can write the summary that now is the time that India should focus to retain its brightest of the minds. And you can also give some initiatives to prevent the brain drain like the Ramanujan Fellowship, Inspire, Vajra scheme, etc. You can give the governmental initiatives in the conclusion part. Finally, the model answer, brain drain definition, one diagram, impacts of brain drain on Indian economy, then the positives of brain drain, and finally some governmental initiatives in the way forward or the conclusion. So this completes our discussion for today. Thank you and have a nice day.